Tea Party member until he got bought out by the Christian conservatives. I've been unemployed for 2.5 years. I have 2 master's degrees, not doing good. $60,000 in student loans. When you have this grassroots democratic movement, you get all these different voices coming together, and sometimes one voice comes up as the more powerful voice, and the others get drowned out.
You don't walk around here without thinking that something might happen.
I can hear everyone right now. Alright, well, so if you know so much and all these jackass members are in this crowd, well, what about Steve-O?
A white female human, a young white female human jawbone has been found on the strip where Natalie Holloway last stayed, the hotel strip there on the Aruban beaches. Straight out to Gene Casares joining us from the field, legal correspondent in session. Gene, what do we know?
Well, we know that Aruban forensic officials took this jawbone. They have confirmed that it is the jawbone along with an attached tooth of a Caucasian young female girl. It is in the hands of The Hague tonight. Their forensic institute, they are trying to determine if it is that of Natalie Holloway. They have Holloway's DNA at The Hague, and they will make that confirmation shortly.
And Jane, isn't it correct that this is found on the beach, the hotel strip, where Natalie last stayed, which is consistent with everything we have known all along?
That's right, and what you're saying is that all the statements of Joran Vandersloot saying that her body was taken out to the ocean, out to the water, dumped in the swamp, could be corroborated by this physical evidence.
Well, surprise, surprise, it washed back to shore, Joran Vandersloot. Bet you didn't count on that happening.
God, is she not the most annoying person on this planet? Whew. Well, anyway, let's see who this Vandersloot really is.
Take a listen to Joran Vandersloot confessing to Natalie's death.
How do you know she's dead, Joran?
I just know.
How did you see it? Did you feel her pulse? Did it go in one time?
I just touched her and there wasn't anything anymore. It was over.
Did you try to resuscitate her?
I tried everything. I even lifted her up.
Well, they have like Ren and Stimpy doing the voiceovers. I mean, that's just absurd. Well, anyway, Vandersloot is none other than Steve-O. Now, Steve-O spent most of his time growing up in Europe, as his father was the president of PepsiCo of South America. He also spends a lot of time in Canada, where his parents live now. Now, the interesting thing about the PepsiCo connection is when I investigated the Gabrielle Giffords event, some of the doctors and also some of Loeffner's neighbors worked at PepsiCo. Now, of course, these were actors. We know that because Loeffner doesn't exist. So there's a PepsiCo connection right there, and the fact that his father is a president of that division, you know they have to know that their employees are taking part in these events. So they, of course, are doing so with their blessing. But back to Dave here. See, Dave, like I said, is no first-timer to this type of scam. Remember Susan Smith, the woman that drowned her kids by running her car into the lake?
I want to say to my babies that your mama loves you so much, and your daddy, this whole family love you so much. And you guys have got to be strong. Hey, I mean, they've got people everywhere looking for them. I mean, you know, you can hear the helicopters are there, and but they haven't seen anything, and it's crazy. And it's been since 9 o'clock last night, you know, and I really thought that when it got daylight they would find them just in a heartbeat. But all I'm doing is just praying and just.
When you look carefully at her husband, guess who it is?
Please, as law enforcement, don't shy away. Don't feel intimidated by the parents and hinder, the investigation.
Yeah, it's Dave. And don't forget who the lawyer was for this case. You got it. The same one that's the lawyer for the fictitious Loeffner, and the same one for the Unabomber, Lisa Fithian character, Medina Benjamin character. Fake. This whole thing's fake. So when you look at Susan Smith and you listen to how she speaks, she reminds you of anybody recently that had their kid abducted?
And your mama loves you so much. And your daddy, this whole family loves you so much.
Holly Bobo's mother. And look, Holly Bobo's father.
Our daughter was taken from us yesterday morning about 8 o'clock from my house.
It's Dave again, but now Dave is wearing some makeup and he looks pretty good as his disguise. But here's the thing. They all have Facebook accounts that are accounts that are being created to support a fictitious person that they are acting as. And then they'll have another account that is a cover that in case somebody is onto them, it'll track back to this additional person. Just as we saw with the Giffords event, and we saw it with many of the individuals in that, we could track back to a second Facebook account. And then from there, it would be a dead end. But fortunately, I found the link to the Pima County Sheriff's. So when you see his fictitious friend or his fictitious name, and then you see who that person is friends with, it makes another connection. Because that connection is the Stephanie girl from the Occupied events with Topless. She got Topless, and she also was the pepper sprayed one. She also was in the G20 crowd. Her brother is also the Fort Hood shooter. Her other brother is the other one that played in the Nevada organic farm raid. So you see the connections that these people have. This isn't a look-alike situation here. We're talking about individuals that are repeating over and over again with the same group of friends in different costumes and outfits and makeup, posing as different people in different productions that are totally unrelated to one another, but the individuals are related. And even though she went through all that trouble to hide her identity, I managed to track her down, and we'll find out who she really is in a moment. So again, this is not and has never been a case of lookalikes. These people all have very close ties. So let's go back to the original source of some of these actors. As we see, they are connected to Johnny Knoxville and the Jackass crews. We see that they were picked up by Bravo, the network Bravo, and you see a lot of the new shows that Johnny is being part of, and of course we see him as his new show as Zoe's assistant, Brad the stylist. So I went back and I looked at some of the individuals that I was uncovering and found another startling link between the characters on these shows and of course people that are on Occupied and acting as political activists. So was the Jackass crew involved in the Gabrielle Giffords event? Were they there during those times? Yeah, they were. Came across this photograph that I had that I didn't recognize who these people were at the time, but looking back on it, of course now I know because I've investigated them, and you'll be surprised who's in the background that links them all together. Here we have Johnny himself. This is his current wife. This is his daughter, whom you might recognize later on. This is Spike Jonze, one of the original directors of Jackass. And in the background, the most important figure on here, Michael Greenberg, aka Dallas Green. So while we have Johnny up here, I want to talk about a few of his latest productions so we can expose them while we're at it. As I briefly mentioned, he just recently got his own show on the Bravo network as Brad the Stylist, Zoe's ex-stylist, but you of course know that's Johnny Knoxville, so that's pretty funny. Also on the Bravo network we have the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, of New York, etc., playing roles in the current events like the Occupy movement. But you're going to be surprised that how high of a profile this individual is playing in another role. This of course is Ramona from the Housewives of New York. But we also see Ramona taking part in the Occupy movement in full disguise. Now another part that Ramona plays that you might not be so aware of is the mother of Casey Anthony, Cindy Anthony. Now if you're a fan of that show, you might realize that Ramona doesn't have pierced ears. So you'll notice on the mother of Anthony they use a prosthetic which is common to reshape the lobe. It's a little piece that attaches to the bottom of the lobe, and they can then have pierced earrings. They can do that with the top of the ear too, but they didn't do it on this one. They just did the bottom lobe. So we see her playing a high-profile role that, of course, when you put them side by side, you can tell it's obviously her, but you wouldn't put two and two together when they're just up on the screen separately. Even if the shows were back to back, you wouldn't even think about it. So when I started matching up these individuals to multiple roles in like the same network or the same group of individuals being used over and over again, of course I went then back to the Housewives and picked out a few more that I think will shock you a little bit. If we look at the Millionaire Matchmaker, the character that plays Debbie Stanger, and we look at Kyle from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, they are in fact the same individual. And the best way you can actually really see it is when they're walking away from the camera with their backs towards the camera. You can really see that it's absolutely her. She just wears different makeup, different hairstyle, puts on a little bit of the accent, wears thick makeup on the Millionaire Matchmaker. So you'll be able to see that it's absolutely her. So why do the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or New York really matter? We're talking about much bigger individuals that are playing parts in the media and in our government that are actors. Well, it's because that these individuals are still taking part in the undermining of your sense of reality. They're convincing you of a false state of realism that people use and they base their lives on, when in fact this is not. This is scripted acting. So they're contributing to basically the numbing or the dumbing down of the society by their reality shows. So I'll just quickly go through the rest of these, and you'll see how they connect together to this family and what we're talking about. Lisa Vanderpump, Beverly Hills Housewives. Get it? Vanderpump. Jacqueline Smith, clothing designer, Kmart. Taylor Armstrong, Beverly Hills Housewives, is Emily. Kim Zolciak, Atlanta Housewives, is Adrienne Maloof. And actually, this is who she really is. Nene's business partner is none other than one of the originators of Jackass, Jeff Tremaine. Then, of course, looking at Camille Grammer, who we know is a fictitious person all in general, and the fact that Kelsey is fictitious as well, as you will see in a moment. We see by their supposed son and daughter, who the daughter is, of course, Emily's daughter, Ricky, and the son is Dave England's son, Chiron. Now, another individual that's from the Beverly Hills Wives is the new character that is now Kyle's sister's boyfriend. This individual, he is actually played a role in a 9/11 event, along with some of the Greenberg family members in the same special. This is Richard Sexton, married to Tony Greenberg's sister, Jennifer. That's Emily in his lap. Emily's sister is Samantha Sexton, the character that played the Christina Taylor Greene in the Giffords event. His other brother is Patrick Sexton, who goes by the name of Jeffrey Katzenberg, the CEO of DreamWorks. He has another brother that we'll speak about here in a moment. He's as equally as powerful as Jeffrey Katzenberg.